Right on time for News Watch here on Hope TV on this 12th day of June 2023. A very good evening to you and welcome to the broadcast. My name is Kennedy Kimani and Elizabeth Onjiku will be assisting in the sign language interpretation. Now, after a 5-day retreat in Naivasha to scrutinize the Finance Bill 2023, the National Assembly Finance and Planning Committee is on Tuesday, that is tomorrow, expected to table the bill to the floor of the August House. The bill, which contains 84 clauses, seeks to amend various tax laws to improve the operations of the financial sector, as well as enhance measures for raising national revenue. The Azimio One Kenya coalition has, however, vowed to vote against the bill, saying the tax proposals they are in and the infamous housing levy clause will hurt the already overburdened Kenyans in these hard economic times. However, in a tweet, the UDA party stated the housing fund contribution has been reduced to 1.5% from the proposed 3% following public outcry. Busia Senator Okiya Omtata and several other people have already moved to court to oppose the bill, which they claim has some illegal and repressive clauses on the tax regime. Now, here's what to expect regarding the Finance Bill 2023 moving forward. On Tuesday, that is tomorrow, the second reading of the bill will take place. At this stage, members of Parliament are expected to debate on the bill as the Committee of the Whole House. Amendments by the members of Parliament will also be considered and thereafter vote on each amendment. After the second reading is done and dusted, the bill will be read for that time, where the MPs will give their final vote. If 2/3 of the MPs vote for the bill, the executive arm of government through the president will complete the legislative process by formally assenting the bill. Still matters Finance Bill, and as Kenyans continue to wait and see how their members of Parliament will debate and vote on the contentious Finance Bill 2023, Christ is the Answer Ministry's presiding bishop, Callisto Odede, has urged the government not to force the bill on Kenyans. In an exclusive interview with Hope TV, Bishop Odede stated that the heavy taxation being recommended by the bill is retrogressive, both to economic growth and businesses of individuals. Our very own reporter Alice Diana spoke with the bishop and brings us this story.
Even as the Parliamentary Committee on Finance reached a consensus to amend some of the controversial clauses in the Financial Bill 2023 after a 5-day retreat in Naivasha, Christ is the Answer Ministry CITAM's presiding Bishop Callisto Odede has urged members of Parliament to consider the views of the public. Bishop Odede noted that as much as the bill contains certain good things, it also contains certain things that should be thought out. According to the man of cloth, issues such as the housing levy should be more of voluntary rather than forced.
When it comes to issues of housing tax, whether we call it levy or tax, that should be more of voluntary rather than forced. And it needs to be done in a way that people are agreeing. The way we are going around it is actually seeming like the government is basically raiding people's bank accounts.
Bishop Odede has called on lawmakers to listen more to what Kenyans are saying about the bill before rushing in to cast their votes.
We all need to know, parliamentarians, that we have been chosen by our members, the public, and we need to have an ear to hear what are actually is the word on the ground. What is the public saying about some of these matters? And I think if I hear correctly, being a pastor who is also in charge of publics, is that the kind of heavy taxation that is being recommended by the bill is actually retrogressive both to economic growth and also to personal businesses of individuals.
Speaking on the country's economy, the clergy, who noted that some aspects affecting the economy are self-made, has advised the government to cut down the country's budget in areas such as reducing the positions within government that are not necessary at the moment.
Apart from the international impact, there are other aspects that are affecting the economy that I think are self-made. There is no need for us to float our budget when we do not have the income, because we know we are going to be borrowing. There are certain positions within the government, CASs and others, that do not have to be in the government at this particular time.
With just a day remaining before the 17-member task force formed to probe churches in the country following the Shakahola massacre, in which hundreds of people have died of alleged starvation, begins collecting views, Bishop Odede has stated that there is need for churches to be self-regulated.
Truth be spoken, some of our churches have been charlatans, some of our churches have actually been more of toxic churches. which are damaging people, both psychologically, emotionally, and even leading to death, as we have seen. So they do need a sense in which they are reined in, that they do not go outside. But some of the churches, I think majority of us would prefer a situation where we headed towards a direction of self-regulation, where we came up with some agreed standards, which we would be saying, let all churches interact and agree to live and operate according to these standards. And then any church that operates outside these standards, the government is at liberty to deal with them according to the law.
Odede has called on members of the public and church leaders to come out and express their opinions clearly before the task force. He has also expressed optimism that churches will be given an opportunity to produce documents that will help them in self-regulation. For Hope TV News Watch, I'm Alice Diana.
Thank you so much, Alice, for that report. Now, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua today led a stakeholders forum in efforts to address the drug and substance abuse menace during the event held at Kirubia Stadium in Tharaka Nithi County. Interior CS Professor Kithure Kindiki noted that the danger posed by bandits and terrorists to security is similar to those who manufacture illicit brew, which injures the health of the nation. Our very own Tess Njenga now reports.
The fight against alcohol and drug abuse has intensified as the government held a multi-sectoral security meeting to address the hazard. The third regional stakeholders engagement on the fight against trade, use, abuse and consumption of illicit alcohol, narcotics and other psychotropic substances took place at Kirubia Stadium, Tharaka Nithi County. Speaking during the forum, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua has warned rogue officers, saying that the government will work on a joint strategy to end illicit brew with other counties.
Once you start receiving money from your constables, and your corporals and your sergeants, and the major, and the OC crime, and your deputy, that's the head of the station. Once you decide there will be no bribes within your station, there will not be. So we are going to hold the station commanders responsible for whatever happens in your area of jurisdiction.
It was also noted that police officers have been affected by alcoholism, with officers in charge of stations asked to ensure sober officers for successful operations. On his part, Interior Cabinet Secretary Professor Kithure Kindiki noted that the government will not spare politicians who are aiding the menace, but will instead arrest and prosecute them.
We're going to track every political leader who is part of this dangerous scheme to undermine our country's security. We'll investigate you very carefully. Once we get good evidence, we'll arrest you, prosecute you, and make sure you are convicted. And even if you are released by court, we'll appeal and keep on appealing. And eventually, if you are released, we'll see what else we can do.
CS Kindiki added that action will be taken against chiefs and police officers who are obtaining bribes to condone the vice.
Those chiefs and police officers who are collecting small monies to murder our children, and allow them lose lives in the manner in which the member for this area was saying, you will have a case to answer, not in the future, now. Any chief, any police officer who is receiving protection money from brewers, from drug peddlers, you are a threat to our national security. We'll get rid of you.
The meeting of stakeholders from the counties of Tharaka Nithi, Isiolo, Meru, Marsabit and Embu in Chuka has raised pertinent issues on strategies of fighting the crisis. Reporting for Hope TV News Watch, I'm Tess Njenga.
Thank you so much, Tess, for that report. Now, the Shakahola death toll now stands at 284. This is after 10 more bodies were today exhumed from the Shakahola forest in Kilifi County, where the exhumation exercise is currently on its third phase. According to the Coast Regional Commissioner, Rhoda Onyancha, the DNA samplings conducted so far are 93, out of which 19 victims have been linked to their families. As investigations into the massacre continues, the number of suspects arrested in connection with the cult are 35, with the main suspect being self-proclaimed Pastor Paul Mackenzie. The number of persons reported missing and are suspected to have fallen victim to the cult are 613. Michael Macharia Njiri, alias DJ Brownskin, was today arraigned at the Milimani Law Court in connection with the death of his wife, Sharon Njiri. This follows a video that surfaced in April and went viral showing DJ Brownskin in what appeared to be him recording his wife taking poison. Appearing before Chief Magistrate Lucas Onyina, DJ Brownskin denied 3 charges of aiding suicide, neglect to prevent a felony, and destroying evidence by deleting the videos he had uploaded in his social media of the videos regarding the suicidal incident at their house in July last year. Magistrate Onyina has detained DJ Brownskin for 3 days, pending a pre-bail report from the probation officers.
Mr. Michael Macharia Njiri on the 29th of July 2022 at Kariobangi South in Buruburu sub-county within Nairobi County, knowing that Sharon Njeri Mwangi would decide to commit suicide, failed to use all reasonable cause to prevent the suicide. Is it true or not true, Mr. Michael Macharia?
Not true.
Not true. Count number 3 is of destroying evidence contrary to section 116 as read with section 36 of the Penal Code, and Michael Macharia Njiri on the verse dates between 1st of June 2023 to date in Kasarani sub-county within Nairobi County, knowing that his mobile phone with SIM card number 0729 480 592, which was in his possession, might be required in evidence in a judicial proceeding, willfully removed it with intent to prevent being used in evidence. Is it true or not true, Mr. Njiri?
Not true.
Not true.
Well, with that, it's now time for a breather here on Newsnot, but we still have more stories after the break. See you on the other side.
Every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Spotlight.
Do you feel that they are in a place where they can effect a Barack Obama moment?
When you hear the word of God and you hear Jesus is speaking.
Real talk on real issues.
You know, the Bible says faith without works is dead.
The truth of the gospel that will survive the time is not a health and wealth gospel.
When there is time to harmonize and bring one composite amendment.
With idealistic, thought-provoking guests.
So people come to be serviced, to be encouraged, to be empowered.
When the storm is over, you desire the closeness you have with God.
Hosted by Reverend Edward Furi. Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. Now, over the weekend, Christ is the Answer Ministries leadership held a farewell party for members of the Deacon Board and the Council of Elders, whose tenure has come to an end. Speaking during the event, CITAM presiding Bishop Callisto Odede applauded the outgoing team for their commitment and welcomed the incoming team. He is Grace Ahati with the story.
Hallelujah, nina sababu ya kukuabudu.
The outgoing Council of Elders are Elder Don Odera, who was the secretary to the council, and Elder Teresia Fiu. Outgoing Deacon Board members include Deacon George Asoyo, Deacon Christine Ojera, Deacon Catherine Wahome, and Deacon Esther Chengo. Those joining the Elders Council are Elder Emily Chengo and Elder Agnes Omolo, while the incoming Deacon Board members include Deacon James Masinde, Deacon Margaret Wainaina, Deacon Joseph Muliaro Wafula, and Deacon George Morara Ondonga. Speaking during the farewell event, the exiting members recalled the major highlights during their term and some of the challenges they encountered.
Just the workings of the church, the cohesion, the pulling together, the focus on the vision. That for me is actually an embodiment of how Jesus himself taught.
As a ministry, we have been able to start, I would say, 13 assemblies. And it's simply because the Deacon Board and the Council of Elders work in a very smooth way. So we are able to take our ministry forward.
My experiences, they've been wonderful, mixed, of course. They've been ups and downs, but mostly glorious.
They also encouraged the new members to trust in God, do everything as unto the Lord, and work as a team.
It's God who has chosen them and identified them and located them from where they were serving, maybe within the assemblies. And now maybe this is a higher calling that requires another level of commitment and sacrifice in terms of time. And God will enable you because he has identified you. He will enable you to fulfill the purpose for which he has called you into the Deacon Board.
For the incoming team, I want to tell them, just like God was with us for the 5 years, God will still be with them. He will ensure that they will be in perfect health. He will make sure that he will mind their business, even as they mind his business and the business of his people.
We must intentionally think about bringing the youth into conversations and collaboration with the youth. Kenya right now, we have over 80% of Kenya having youth under the age of 35. So we have to ask ourselves, how are we intentionally including the youth in the conversation?
Head of Media at Hope Media, Dismas Makanda, who noted that Hope Media works closely with Council of Elders and Deacons leadership, appreciated the exiting members for their solid decisions that have contributed to Hope Media's growth.
Our board is constituted from members from a Deacon Board, and therefore the knowledge and the wisdom that comes from the Deacon Board trickles down to the media board, which runs the entire media house. And therefore, we as management, we are glad that we're going to serve under people who are experienced, but also people who love God and they are passionate.
On his part, CITAM's presiding Bishop Callisto Odede lauded the outgoing team for their commitment in their respective roles and dedication to God.
And as we look back on the tenure of those who have completed their service, a tremendous kind of input, the kind of sacrifice that we have seen in them, many hours of meetings to give CITAM direction, sometimes even when we feel like we are getting a little tired, but just to see their hearts and their commitment has continued to give me even encouragement.
Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Grace Ahati.
So much Grace for that report. Away from that, Kenya wants the East Africa community to discuss and come up with a solution that will stop persistent harassment of fishermen in Lake Victoria. According to the Mining, Fisheries and Blue Economy CS Salim Vuria, the cabinet has discussed the question of cross-border insecurity that has seen local fishermen suffer persecution at the hands of security agents from neighboring countries who even detain and confiscate their boats and catch. Mvuria said that the government will form a multi-agency team that will help address the matter of neighboring countries that share the Lake Victoria waters.
The issue of insecurity. Waziri, we are losing a lot of money, and our people have continued to suffer from the hands of our brothers and sisters, mostly from the Republic of Uganda. All the departments doing enforcement have now moved closer to the borders of Kenya. And some of the activities they are doing, Waziri, are not activities that are backed by law. For instance, today, a number of my fishermen are arrested for using solar lights to carry out omena fishery.
Are the units where fishermen organize their activities. And therefore you will find BMUs here, you will find BMUs in the coast, and most of the other areas that we have blue space. And what we have decided as a ministry, so that the BMUs become effective economic units for fishermen, we organize the BMUs into cooperative societies, so that those apex societies are able to coordinate marketing, are able to coordinate value addition.
We will do everything possible to create an enabling environment for fishermen. For a start, that Kabonyo Training Institute, I am aware CS Muvuria is working on it. It will be officially launched soon. Immediately it is launched, we will come there with officials from my ministry. We will set up a digital hub there, a digital laboratory, so that the fishermen can also be digitally, the work training can also be digitally enabled.
Crossing borders now, and former Italian Prime Minister Silvio Berlusconi has died, aged 86. According to reports, Berlusconi had been suffering from leukemia and was admitted to San Raffaele Hospital in Milan, where he succumbed to a recent lung infection. Berlusconi served as Italian Prime Minister 3 times between 1994 and 2011.
Thank you for watching Hope TV, the station where you look and live. For feedback regarding our programming, you can WhatsApp us through 0708 222 323, SMS 22232, website www.hopemediakenya.org, or scan the QR code below.
Welcome back. Now let's get down to business. A Pan-African rating agency, Agusto & Co, has termed Kenya's debt situation as moderately high risk. In an analysis of Kenya's economy, the Nigeria-headquartered rating firm says the country's elevated debt levels due to its budget deficit, with a significant impact on interest burden, has increased vulnerability to internal and external shocks.
If you look at Kenya's banking industry today, we're looking at an NPL ratio of 14%. If you compare it to Uganda, we're looking at 5.2%. If you compare it to Tanzania, you're looking at 7.6%. If you compare it to Nigeria, we have a 6.2%. It means that whether we accept it or not, the asset quality of the banking sector requires improvement. Because when you're looking at a 14%, a double-digit NPL ratio, and you will find out that it's the structural issues that translates into the sector. So what typically happens when the bank starts to exhibit asset quality issues? First, they start to declare losses, and second, lastly, it affects the capital. The good news is that if you look at the Kenyan banking sector today, the capital adequacy ratio is quite strong. We have estimated Basel II of about 19%.
Moving on, online shopping company Jumia has announced the release of its report, E-commerce in Rural Areas, which examines how online marketplaces may benefit rural areas by giving them access to millions of products and creating employment opportunities. The head of Jumia Logistics, Chris Nyaga, emphasized the function of JForce, a network of over 25,000 sales representatives whose job is to spread knowledge of the platform and assist local communities in placing orders. According to Jumia, leading sales categories for most online shoppers include those for cosmetics, home furnishings and appliances, phones and other technology. Our very own Joy Mochache with more on the story.
The good thing about the JForce program is that it's very flexible. It can be either a full-time activity and be your main source of income, or it can be a part-time activity.
The online shopping platform, Jumia, has created JForce, further aimed at increasing jobs for youth by opening more service stations in upcountry areas such as Naivasha, Karatina, Eldoret, Nakuru, Kakamega, Kitale, and Kisumu. According to Jumia Kenya CEO Charles Ballard, providing services in these areas has enabled customers to reach out to a physical Jumia location, request for an item, and have the order placed on their behalf after specifying a delivery or pickup point.
The criteria is it has to be somebody who is already tech savvy, somebody who has a smartphone, somebody who is already a customer and is already shopping online. Because they are already in love with this experience, they are enjoying this experience, then it becomes easier for them to onboard somebody else who is a customer and who can order from Jumia. So the basic training that we take them through is how to operate on the platform and how to place orders, so on behalf of your customers. So if you have, for example, a friend, a relative, how do you market to them? How do you reach out to them? How do you show them that they can order from Jumia? So they use social networks. You know, they walk across offline, they walk on the streets, and also we also show them how to onboard fellow people who can become JForce agents.
A JForce agent will receive commission on any sold products, which varies depending on the category. Categories ranging from highest to lowest commission include beauty, electronics, home appliances, and groceries.
So we have 3 categories, low, medium, and high. And it depends, with like my colleague mentioned earlier. So we are seeing those who are selling categories like beauty actually getting higher commissions, and then followed by electronics, home appliances, and then finally groceries, because groceries have the least commissions. I won't mention the numbers for now, but that's how it's spread out.
Concern was raised about the large number of male representatives versus female representatives, citing reasons that the products highly sold are in male categories such as tech and electronics, while female representatives tend to focus on beauty and fashion products.
I think the main reason why historically we have had more men than women is just a category bias. Is that generally the the categories that are the most successful are mostly phone, TV, appliances that are mostly, men-related categories. But the more it goes, the more women are registering on the platform and are being successful as JForce agents.
Reporting for Hope TV, Joy Mochache.
Thank you, Joy, for that report. Moving on, Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi and Tourism and Wildlife Cabinet Secretary Penina Malonza have led the 10th African Hospitality Investment Forum to take stock on the interventions put in place to rebound the tourism sector to pre-COVID-19 pandemic levels. Mudavadi lauded Africa's achievement of 65% of pre-pandemic international visitors by the end of 2022, adding that the relative increase in hotels' occupancy rates was also commendable. CS Penina Malonza, on her part, called for the diversification of the tourism sector in the country and the gradual growth of infrastructure.
Why should we invest in Kenya? Kenya is a techno hub of Africa. And this is good for you to know. Technologically, we are advanced, and this is one country where we will not struggle a lot with technology. Why would you invest in Kenya? Because we have built infrastructure, including the super highway that we have right in the middle of the city. And so in the area of infrastructure, we have developed ourselves as a country.
The African countries make it difficult for investors to repatriate their profits when they earn them. So if we are going to talk about African hospitality and the investment, we must critically engage with the policymakers in our respective countries so that we can change that and be able to attract the kind of foreign injection that we need to grow our numbers and to grow our space in our country, the number of beds that we need and so forth.
And to some sporting action now. There is hope for boxing legend Conjestina Acheng's journey to full recovery after she participated in an exhibition bout against former WBC Super Bantamweight champion Fatuma Zarika in Mombasa over the weekend. Conjestina had been at Miritini Hospital since July last year after she was rescued in her hometown in Siaya. The fight, which took place at the Mombasa Women Empowerment Network Hospital, was aimed at giving Conjestina Acheng a feel of the ring after years of suffering from a mental illness.
Ugonjwa ni kitu hiko ambapo mtu yote anaweza kuwa mgonjwa. So isikuwe ni shida kubwa sana ati Konja ni mgonjwa mpaka kila mtu anaona Konja alikuwa mgonjwa, Konja ameacha boxing. Ugonjwa ni kitu hiko na saizi nimepona na niko sawa na nimerudi ulingoni. Ile support nilikuwa napata. Na ambapo ndio naomba saizi bado iendelee tu kukua ili niendelee.
Kuna mipango mizuri na yeye. Na mpango mkubwa ni ile tu kukubaliana na familia, mtoto wake ako hapa, dada yake ako hapa. Kukubaliana tuhakikisha kwanza harudi kule reserve. Kwa sababu last time tulikuwa na same problem, alirecover vizuri, tukamwachilia akarudi reserve, then after some time, after a period, akakuwa tena ugonjwa akarudi kwake.
Mwaka uliopita aliweza kufika hapa na kuanzishwa matibabu na haikuwa rahisi. Alikuwa hali mbaya sana kwa sababu afya yake umeelezwa ilikuwa imerudi nyuma sana kiafya, kiakili, na alitusumbua sana, lakini kwa sababu ya subira na kuhakikisha kwamba anapata matibabu yale yanayostahili, leo tunapeana information kutoka kwetu kwamba Conjestina amepona kabisa.
Wadhamini wakimwachilia vile alivyo atapata kupotea, lakini wadhamini wakiweka nguvu, wakajitokeza, wakamshika mkono, atainuka tena, atakuwa Conjestina 2.
Switching gears to golf, and handicap 31 lady golfer Christine Riaro of Nyanza Golf Club and her team of David Sate, Joyce Osike and Tabitha Ojwang returned a combined score of 109 points to be crowned overall team winners of the KCB East Africa Golf Tour at the Par 72 Nyanza Golf Course over the weekend. The golf series will resume action on the 7th of July at the Thika Sports Club.
We've been practicing, so it's out of some hard work, that we've won today. The winning team in Karen will win $1 million shillings that will go to the club. The club needs that money. We have to win in Karen as well. So we are going to put in the same effort we put in to win today. And we'll definitely come home with the prize money and all those gifts we'll get.
Still matters golf, and Cedric Conzolo, playing off handicap 5, defied all odds to emerge as the overall gross winner of the 5th leg of the NCBA golf tournament, displaying his golfing prowess with an impressive score of 79 gross. Over 100 dedicated golfers from Kakamega and neighboring clubs defied the rainy weather, synonymous with the region, to participate in the tournament as they aim to book their slots to play in the tournament's grand finale.
The weather was perfect. The greens were in pristine condition. We displayed the prizes and awards so that the golfers, as they registered, saw what was available for them to win, which really motivated them to bring out the best in the game. The turnout was great. We registered around 60 golfers